On this episode, we play a new game called Who Would You Rather, where we debate dramatic scenarios and which player we'd want for them. We also debate positional battles like Willie Mays versus the Kid and the Wizard of Oz versus the Captain, plus why you need to watch the Baseball Bunch. All this and more on this episode of 3 Tool Players. Welcome to 3 Tool Players. I'm Chris Spear, and alongside me, as usual, are the Hammer brothers, Brian and Dan Hammer. Say hello to the internets, fellas.
Hello to the internets, fellas.
Ahoy, ahoy.
All right, we're going to play a new game here on the 3 Tool Players podcast called Who Would You Rather?
Would you rather?
It's not going to be anything tawdry or dirty. In this game, imagine yourself the manager of a team that has access to every player who ever played baseball, either active or in the past in their prime. I will give you a scenario, and as a manager, you have to decide who you would rather have in that scenario. If it's a current player, it's where they are right now. And if it's a player from the past, imagine that player in their prime. Let's start with some drama in the scenarios. It is bottom of the ninth in Game 7 of the World Series. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. You're down by 3. Who would you rather have at bat? Would you rather Freddie Freeman or Aaron Judge?
Aaron Judge. Next.
This is absolutely going to kill me, but I'm going to say Freddie Freeman.
Wow.
So did not see that one coming.
I didn't see that one coming either.
Neither did I, because Spear didn't set us up for that question at the beginning of our research. That's a complete wild card question you asked me, you smiling SOB. You see the hat that I'm wearing. We all know that Aaron Judge is very, very good at baseball, but Aaron Judge was not very, very good at baseball during a postseason run last year, whereas Mr. Frederick Freeman, that man can do no wrong. I know it pains me to say this because of the walk-off in Game 1 and the fact that the gentleman just absolutely dismantled my beloved Bronx Bombers in 2024. So if I'm a manager, in terms of clutchness in postseason play now, you said 7th game World Series.
I did. Game 7 of the World Series. Bases loaded, Judge, 2 outs, and you're down by 3.
And Judge, yes, he's got the power, but the man strikes out too. I mean, I was watching the game against Baltimore yesterday. He had runners on second and third, I believe. There was only like 1 out. It was 2 outs, and he whiffed horribly. Left runners on base. That was the only thing. Luckily, we came back to win that game. But that was a situation that was not a World Series time. So you asked the question, Freeman versus Judge. Judge, I'm so sorry, man. Please get to the World Series this year. Please prove me wrong.
So you're going with the clutch gene. Right?
Yes.
You're thinking Freddie Freeman's got the clutch gene, and right now he's got it over Aaron Judge. Dan is going with the guy who can win the game for you with one swing.
We were talking about active players right now, current situation. And so I'm picking Aaron Judge all day. Reason being, I mean, like, the dude already has 27 home runs. I understand, Bri, that Freddie Freeman completely dismantled the Yankees last year, and I was loving every second of it. But we're talking about current. This year, I would want Judge up. Dude has 27 home runs. Dude is batting 367. It's a no-brainer for me. Freddie Freeman is a bit hobbled right now this year, and he only has 9 home runs. His batting average is there, but is the power there? Not right now. So I go Judge.
Can I tell you something a little bit about someone who has power but was hobbled at one point in his career? And that was Mr. Kirk Gibson, 1988, Game 1, Dodgers versus A's. Barely got up to the plate, sagging his knees, and he still took Eckersley yard for the walk-off. So you want to talk about somebody who's hobbled? Somebody who's actually wearing the jersey? Poetic, isn't it? So I'm going to stick with my choice with Freddie Freeman.
I think for this one, you're down by 3. Grand Slam wins it. For this one, I think you got to go with the guy who can win the game with one swing of the bat. I think you go with Judge. All-timers now. Tony Gwynn or Barry Bonds?
If we're talking about down by 3, bases loaded, 2 outs, you want Barry Bonds up. The all-time home runs leader, you're going to want that guy up at bat. I mean, Tony Gwynn, phenomenal hitter. He's going to get contact. He does not strike out, but does he have the power? No. There's no one better than Tony Gwynn for getting bat to ball. When you're looking for power, you got to go Bonds.
There is a near guarantee that Gwynn keeps the inning going. The guy had 430 strikeouts or something along those lines for his entire career.
Yeah.
So there's a near guarantee that if Gwynn gets up there, he gets a hit and at least gets a couple of runs. I don't know, Brian, what do you think?
I say neither. Instead, I go to somebody else, and his name is Billy Hatcher, circa 1990. This man is remarkable. This man batted 750 that year, 6 runs, bunch of RBIs. He set the record for the highest batting average in a single World Series. He tied the record for most doubles in a 4-game series with 4. This guy holds the record for most consecutive hits in a series with 7. I mean, this guy was an animal. If I have a choice, I'm not going with Gwynn. I'm not going with Bonds. You want to know why? Because they're also losers in the World Series. Not one of them could say that they have a World Series ring to polish off and show off at, the local elk club. No. But my man, Billy Hatcher, he walks in loud and proud and says, hey, take a look at 1990 right here. So that's my choice. And if you're just curious, if you want to know where he is right now, he's an assistant coach for the Madelia Mustangs, a high school football team in Cincinnati, Ohio.
You really don't like playing the games according to the rules, do you?
Well, when you set up the rules that are absurd, I mean, listen, I'm not going to choose guys that haven't won a World Series. Why would I? Just like I chose Freddie Freeman over Judge. I love Judge. Go earn your World Series, and then I'll change my mind. But until then, Freddie Freeman sitting with 2 World Series wins. Guy's got experience. He's got ice water in his veins.
You're an absolutely ridiculous man. You know this,
No,
right?
I'm not.
Yeah, I
Billy Hatcher's-
basically was going to call Brian. He's like Riggs from Lethal Weapon. I mean, he's an officer that doesn't play by the rules. He plays by his own rules, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, my vote here would be for Bonds. Again, Bonds can win the game with one swing. Bonds had good bat to ball skills. For me, this one's simple. That's Barry Bonds. All right. Lefty versus righty. David Ortiz or Albert Pujols?
Both are amazing. Both are well respected. Pujols is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no doubt. Ortiz is already there. And it pains me as a Yankees fan because my answer is going to be David Ortiz. The idea that they're both very clutch performance guys. Ortiz is still widely regarded as the most clutch hitter in baseball history, and he always delivered during high pressure situations.
I have to agree with you. I would also have to go with David Ortiz. You go back to 2004. The Red Sox were down 3-0 against the Yankees. What does David Ortiz do every single game? Keeps the Red Sox in the game. David Ortiz was the man in 2004 when they won the World Series.
Pujols is the better all-around hitter, but Ortiz is arguably the better big game hitter.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I'd go with Pujols is if the closer was a lefty. If not, it's Ortiz all day. Boston versus New York. Teddy Williams or Mickey Mantle?
All right, I'm going to take this one. And this pains me because I have love for both of these gentlemen, believe it or not. Even though Ted Williams is Boston, our father, who we had mentioned on the previous podcast, Al Hammer, he came to me one time. I was into my 8-year-old season, and I probably struck out every time I was up, except for maybe 3 or 4 times I got a couple of hits. And I saw a bunch of other kids playing All-Stars that year, and there was no way I was going to play All-Stars as an 8-year-old. So he came to me and says, "Are you serious about baseball?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, I am. I really want to learn." So what does he do? He goes out and he buys The Science of Hitting from Ted Williams. Every day after work, this man would take me a couple blocks away to our grade school backstop there. There was a field. He would pitch, he would hit to me, and I got better and better. And the reason for it was because he read The Science of Hitting from Ted Williams. And he said, start your stance here, look for this, hit a ball in your hot spots, etc. Look for your pitch. That's why I have a lot of love for Ted Williams as a Yankee fan. That said, when you compare World Series efforts, it is literally apples to donuts. And the reason I say this is because Ted Williams was only in 1 World Series and he batted like 200. It was 1946.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not his fault. I mean, give credit where credit is due. The man went to war for our good nation, 43 through 45. He was, trying to take down Hitler and all his scumbag Nazi friends, fighter pilot, the whole 9. Unfortunately, though, when it comes to big game play, he has a very small subset, right? He only played at 1946, whereas Mickey Mantle, on the other hand, Mickey Mantle has the benefit of being on a stud dynasty with the New York Yankees in that heyday.
The only thing you really have to say about this contest is Mickey Mantle holds the record for home runs in World Series games with 18. And he was a switch hitter with power from both sides of the plate. He played in the big games. He had impact in the big games. Has to be Mantle here. Dan, what do you think?
I'm going to go against both you guys. I'm going to say Ted Williams. Reason being is you want someone who has the power, who has the batting average. Yes, I understand that he wasn't in clutch games because the Red Sox were garbage back in the 40s and the 50s because Curse of the Bambino. I still go with Ted Williams. The dude just always hit every single year. We did talk about him doing military service for 3 years. Now, so let's take a look at like his career. Finished off with 521 with a 344 batting average. I mean, it's absolutely sick for career numbers. Add those 3 years in, he's going to be over 600 plus home runs. Who knows if, the Boston Red Sox would make it to the playoffs those years. Nonetheless, if he had more time playing in clutch situations, I feel that Ted Williams would have been so much better than Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle had a stacked lineup around him. Now, if Ted Williams was put in that same scenario with a stacked lineup around him and people had to pitch to them, I'd have to go with Ted Williams.
All right, speed round. Dan, these are for you. Bryce Harper or Kyle Schwarber?
Oh, Harper. I have a lot of love for Schwarber. I do, but he does strike out a lot. I have to go with Harper for a clutch situation.
Chase Utley or Shane Victorino?
Chase Utley, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shane Victorino was phenomenal in the postseason, hands down. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, down by 3. I need Utley up.
All right. Pete Rose or Michael Jack Schmidt?
Now this is going back to like Tony Gwynn and Barry Bonds, kind of. It's kind of like, Pete Rose is a contact hitter, just like Tony Gwynn. Michael Jack Schmidt had a lot more power, similar to Barry Bonds. I'm going to have to go with power over contact. I'm going to have to go Mike Schmidt, not to mention he has a phenomenal sandwich.
All right. Speed round for Brian.
Ugh.
Trent Grisham or Benjamin Rice?
I got to go with Ben Rice. I like Grisham, don't get me wrong, but he's more known for his defense prowess. The guy's got a couple of gold gloves. Rice kind of come down to earth a little bit, but he's still a guy that I think will perform. He has an X velocity that comes off his bat. He makes things happen. He was holding down the fort before Stanton came back into the lineup. So I got to go Benjamin Rice.
Bernie Williams or Scott Brocious?
Oof, that's tough. On one hand, you got a guy who had a phenomenal 1998 MVP in the World Series in Scott Brocious. Undeniable, propelled them for that win. But then you got Bernie Williams, who had longevity from 95 through 06, 07-ish. Somebody like Bernie Williams is somebody that I would want to have because he's had a lot of clutch at-bats, and he seemed to deliver many times for the Yankees in the past. But I got to also say, too, that when he does deliver that walk-off win, there's a chance that he might pull out the guitar for you and play a little tune.
All right, let's go back a ways. Lou Gehrig or Yogi Berra?
God, you know what? That's like asking somebody what's better, hot fudge or whipped cream. Yogi's amazing. Lou Gehrig is amazing.
Both had the clutch gene.
They did. They both had the clutch gene.
One maybe arguably has a little bit more power than the other.
Yeah, and in Gehrig. God, I'm going to have to go with Gehrig at this point. The guy was an absolute stud. Nothing against Yogi and his Yogiisms. But if you're asking me who I'm going to, choose, I'm going to go with the Iron Horse.
Okay, let's stick with Game 7. Now let's flip the script a little bit. You need 3 outs for the win. Who do you summon from the bullpen? And for the purposes of this exercise, Mariano Rivera is not eligible because he would be the answer every time. So if we can acknowledge that, we can all move on.
So what you're doing is you're prefacing my gene to uproot the entire established order. Is this what I'm hearing from you?
Stop messing with my game. Okay.
Okay.
So,
fair enough, Mr. Spear. Fair enough.
all right, let's start with today. And keep in mind, these are players today. So grade them based on who they are today. Emmanuel Clase or Josh Hader?
I would have to go with Josh Hader this year. Now, if we were doing last year, I would go with Class A. If we're doing 2025, Josh Hader just looks lights out this year. He's pitching much better than he did in 2024. Yeah, he was phenomenal when he was with the Brewers, but last year he totally fell off. This year he's getting it back. Class A isn't the same person as he was last year and year prior, and he's been getting knocked around this year.
Yeah, Class A puts the ball in play a lot, which could lead to some excitement. Right. If I trusted my defense behind them, I'd consider Class A. But on the overall, I think I'd go with Hader right now. He's been good with a whip of .76 and a hits per nine of 4.98. Right now, I think I'd have to go with Hader. Bri, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree. As much as I like such a cool name in Class A, and it seems he is, uh, I don't know. I just don't like the look of Josh Hader. First of all, I despise the name Josh or Joshua to begin with. Like seriously, I think the 9 out of 10 Joshes I've ever met in this lifetime have been complete douchebags. Guess I'm gonna have to go with Josh Hader based on his numbers and everything you guys had mentioned. I mean, his whip is far lower, and to me, I think that's the name of the game of any closer. The less people you keep on base, the better the blood pressure goes for everybody involved.
Okay, let's go back a ways. Dennis Eckersley or Trevor Hoffman?
So, Dan, who are you gonna say here? I already know who I'm gonna say.
Well, I was going to say Eckersley,
I was gonna
but
say Eckersley as well. Here's the reason I'll give you. Trevor Hoffman. This man has never closed a game that was meaningful except for one playoff game, I think, against the Braves. Other than that, the guy has been knocked around. He got beat in 2007 by a play-in game against Colorado. Yes, you got a lot of saves. Why do you have a lot of saves? Gee, I don't know. Maybe because you played for a team out west that couldn't score a lot of runs and you had a lot of opportunities for saves. You got a lot of regular season saves. Great.
Or
But
maybe you could say he had one of the best changeups of all time and was one of the
well,
best strikeout pitches of all time.
it's great that he got that changeup too, because that was because he ended up injuring himself during a volleyball game during the 1994 strike. So yeah, I give some props to a guy that was mainly a dominant power pitcher. But if I'm going to go with somebody who has experience in winning World Series and in high pressure situations, that's not going to choke when it's not the playoffs, then I'm definitely going to go with somebody like Eckersley.
I would have to agree with Brian on Dennis Eckersley. Dude was lights out. I mean, even what was it in 1992? He won Cy Young and MVP. The guy was just a flat out beast to face. I mean, like no one wanted to face Dennis Eckersley in the ninth inning. If you go from like the span from when he first initially started closer role, prior to that, he was a
One of the
starting.
best starters. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was one of the best starters in the league.
he
Yeah.
was a starting pitcher, but then like he transitioned to saves. Just think how he would have been if he was saving throughout his whole career. He would have completely destroyed Mariano Rivera's all-time leading in saves.
So the only thing that I will say for this debate is that Eckersley was more of a pitch to contact guy and got a lot of ground ball outs. But Hoffman had that changeup as a strikeout artist. In this scenario, I think you go with the guy who was a strikeout pitcher and you go with the guy who sits right behind Rivera on the all-time saves list. Hell's bells, Margaret. I think you go with Hoffman. Let's do Battle of the Mustaches. And these guys had classic stashes. Goose Gossage or Raleigh Fingers?
Listen, I know they both played for the A's at one point in their careers, and you would think that I would choose Goose because he also donned the pinstripes. But my God, you got to give it to Raleigh Fingers. You just do. The man is using certain types of wax to keeping that thing nice and curly and
It's
taut.
glorious. It's
It is a
glorious.
glorious stash. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm rocking a fun little short beard, whatever. But if I was given the opportunity and enough days off from work, I would really, really try to emulate that of Raleigh Fingers. Daniel,
I've
what do you
tried it. I've tried it.
have
It's
you?
a lot of work. It's a
It
lot of
is.
work. And you got to get the right wax so that things curl up correctly. It's a
Mhm.
lot of work.
Gosh.
Fingers gets credit just for the stash, Dan. What do you think?
You have to take a look at both stashes. Let's start off with Goose Gossage. He had a bit of a Fu Manchu going. The way that I look at his stash, I just feel like I'm walking outside and I'm passing my neighbor's house and I see a guy drinking a couple beers outside. Whereas Raleigh Fingers, he looks like an ultimate villain who is tying up a woman to the train
The
tracks.
train tracks.
Mhm.
And just like, rubbing his beard too. Like he's like, yeah, you'll never get away, honey. And like, that's what I see as his stash. He does it well.
And you want that guy on the mound.
I do want that guy. I want the villain. I want the villain on the mound. I don't want the guy chugging beers on the mound. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll add that Raleigh Fingers has a World Series MVP to his credit in 1974 with the A's. And the handlebar beats the Fu Manchu every time. I think this one is Raleigh Fingers all day long.
Actually, you know what? I have a question for you.
What's
Who
that?
would who would you rather have closing out a game for your beloved Mets? Edwin Diaz or John Franco?
Diaz. I hate John
Please,
Franco.
please tell us why, Spear.
I hate John Franco. It's generational hate. I hate John Franco. My father hates John Franco. We all hate John Franco in the Spear household. That's the way it goes.
Hmm.
And
Well,
although,
there's got to be something to bond you all together, and it's good to see that Mr. Franco is the one that
well, I
brings
mean,
that cohesiveness.
you know what? Met fans bond over shared hatred of things and shared misery. That is the defining characteristic of a Met fan is shared misery. So that's what my father and I have, generational misery when it comes to John Franco. I don't even have to think
Nice.
about it. Anybody other than John Franco. You pick any other closer in Mets history, I'm going to choose that closer over John Franco.
God bless
Please,
Jesse Orosco.
please and thank you. Who's your choice to start a must-win game? And we'll start with the pitchers whose names start with the same kind of sound: Skeens or Scooble.
I'm gonna go with Scooble only because I know Skeens is a great pitcher, but I believe Scooble has the background, he's got the confidence, and he has experience in must-win kind of situations more than Skeens does because he at least did sniff the playoffs last year. So I got to go with Scooble on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's experience over stuff right now, and
Mhm.
Scooble has it. Skeens doesn't yet. Dan, what do you think?
You guys are going with experience. I'm going with just complete athleticism and just a
And stuff.
beast
And
and
stuff,
and
yeah.
just an absolute beast on the mound. And like I saw Skeens pitch against the Phillies. Dude was out on the mound right when the last out was recorded, the inning prior. I mean, the guys weren't even in the dugout yet. Guys were still like jogging in from the outfield. Dude's already on the mound, getting ready to go. He's already ramped up. He's ready to pitch. I want that guy.
All right, Greg Maddux or Kurt Schilling?
Ugh.
Bloody
You know
sock
what?
or not?
This one's tough for me because I saw these two pitch in probably the greatest pitching game I've ever seen live. It was April 1998 at the Vet. These two dueled for 8 innings, no runs. And I remember turning around and I said to one of my buddies, the first team to pull their pitcher loses.
Mm.
Sure enough, Maddox is pulled in the bottom of the ninth for Mike Cather. And Mike Lieberthal wins the game with an RBI single. Schilling struck
Hmm.
out 10. Maddox had 5. It was the most amazing pitching performance I had ever seen in person. Schilling won that day, but if I were choosing, I'd have to give it to the professor here. Maddox was too smart a pitcher. I'd put him on the mound in a must-win game every time. Brian's
Nope.
shaking his head.
No, I don't. I love Maddox because he is the professor. I'm a professor, so we got something in common. But he's got a lot more millions of dollars than I do, and Hall of Fame plaque, and wins 350 plus wins. So yes, I agree with you in terms of overall like stats. But when it boils down to the postseason, his career is not as sharp when it comes to just the overall grit and performance in those types of clutch moments and must win games. Kurt Schilling has the resume to say yes, yes, and yes. If I'm the manager and I'm being tapped on this, I gotta go with Schilling in this must win over Maddox, and it pains me to say it.
It is a tough one. I mean, but I'd have to go with Greg Maddux as well. The dude had a photographic memory. He could remember like pitching to a guy back in June and what he threw him. And then if he faces him again in the postseason, he remembers what he's thrown and he doesn't want to throw that again. There's a story, like if you look it up on YouTube, forget who it was. I'm gonna have to, take a look at it.
It's Jeff
But
Bagwell. It's
is
Jeff
it Jeff?
Bagwell.
It
It's
was
Jeff
Jeff
Bagwell.
Bagwell.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So like you look up on YouTube, he basically, pitched him like a meatball just because he was thinking of later on down the road when he faced him again. That is just diabolical. This guy is already thinking of his next move. Everyone else is playing checkers while he's playing chess.
All right, Roger Clemens or Randy Johnson
In a must win game,
in a must-win game.
I gotta go Randy Johnson.
Dan?
I'm telling you this right now. I would Roger Clemens in his 20s, I would not want to get into that batter's box. Again, Randy Johnson, I mean, like you see that stature of like, what was it, 6'7", 6'8". You see just this freaking statue of a man. It's scary. But the way that Roger Clemens pitched when he was in his 20s, he was unhittable.
Let me just say something real quick because I don't want Randy Johnson calling our house and saying, "What are you trying to do? Take a couple inches away from me, you piece of garbage." I'm 6'10".
Sorry.
Take a lap, Daniel.
6'8",
He's
6'9".
the big unit. He's the big unit.
He is the absolute big unit.
He's the
He's
big unit.
intimidating, and he's just got the persona. I mean, even when he came to New York and he wasn't prime Randy. He was still scary beyond reason.
The pinstripes made him look taller.
Yeah, and thinner. They have that effect.
They're
So
slimming. They're
they
slimming.
are slimming. I enjoy a good pinstripe. I
Yeah,
won't lie.
ask Larry Walker, who's more
Oh,
intimidating, right?
we know. We know.
Look, it's simple for me. Only one of these guys destroyed a bird with a fastball.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
with the unit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get out of the dramatic situations. Now you have to make some decisions about your lineups. Who would you rather have in center field, Willie Mays or Ken Griffey Jr.?
Ugh.
Can't lose.
No, you're Parker Lewis here. I gotta go. I'm gonna go Willie Mays over Ken Griffey Jr. And also because of the fact that Ken Griffey, two things. One, the guy doesn't have a World Series ring like Willie Mays. And two, he knocked my beloved Bombers out of the postseason in '95. I get the revenge here and I go Willie Mays. Willie Mays runs for days. Willie Mays is my guy.
Dan, what do you think?
This is such a tough choice.
Can't lose. This one's a no lose. This is no lose.
Are we talking just defense? I mean,
No, you're the
Everything.
manager. You make the decision
All.
how you need to.
You should also say this too, Spear. You can't get the benefit of playing both Willie Mays and Griffey Jr. in your lineup because they're standing side by side and you can't move one guy to left field or right
That's right.
field in
That's
particular.
right. No, pick
In
one.
fact, they tell you that it's Sophie's choice. You have to put a gun in the mouth of the guy
That's
that
right.
you say no to.
That's right. You got to kill the other one off. Sorry, kid.
You're out. Wear your hat like a man. Turn it around. Darn it.
I would have to go with Willie Mays. It's just he's one of the best. I mean, like both of them are the best, some of the best players in baseball. If I need someone patrolling center field, I would have to go with Willie Mays over Ken Griffey Jr.
If you look at their career stats, 660 home runs for Mays, 630 for the kid, 12 gold gloves for Mays, 10 for the kid. But the most important thing, I think, is going to be WAR. If you look at their career WAR, Griffey had a WAR of 83.8. Mays had a WAR of 156.1, which is ridiculous and fifth all time.
Absolutely sick.
Griffey's in the 50s all time, which is still ridiculous. But Mays, on the overall, I think you take Mays. Griffey made highlight reel plays in center field, but Mays had the catch.
The catch.
The catch. I mean, when you say the catch, people know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Griffey is a no-lose situation here, but I think you have to take Mays on the overall.
Yep.
Okay. Who would you rather have at shortstop? Ozzie Smith or Derek Jeter, the beloved shortstop, the captain of the New York Yankees versus the Wizard of Oz? You know what? I'm not even going to give Brian a chance to answer this one. This one isn't close. Ozzie Smith was one of the best shortstops ever to play the game. He didn't hit for much, but if you're the manager and you want to put your best player at arguably the most important infield position, you put Ozzie Smith there. Jeter was an average shortstop at best. You can make an argument that he was below average despite the 5 gold gloves. And if you want to, you can go deep into the statistics to get there. But there's no need to here. Ozzie Smith was the better shortstop. He's an all-time great. It's Ozzie Smith here all day long.
I would have to agree with you, Spear. Ozzie Smith made the Hall of Fame just by his glove, not by his offense, just by his glove. So hands down, if I need someone playing shortstop, I would pick Ozzie Smith any day. I put Derek Jeter at second.
I thought we had to put a bullet in Jeter's head. I thought that was the rule.
Is that what it is?
I hate both you gentlemen.
Don't get me wrong. I love Jeter. I mean, phenomenal.
I have all the respect in the world for Derek Jeter. And if you were saying, if this was who would you rather have lead your team, this is Derek Jeter all day long. But that's not the question here. It's who would you rather have at shortstop?
So here's the thing. You are talking about individual preferences, okay? And I will not deny that Ozzie Smith is the superior defender. The man did absolute magic with his glove, and we can all thank certain Baseball Bunch episodes for that reminder. But here's the thing. Yes, shortstop, very important position. As much as he is bemoaned for his glove and his defensive lack of prowess, I get that, but I'm happy to be a little bit more forgiving on that regard if I'm going to get also offensive power and I'm going to get offensive clutch performance from that position. The idea that Jeter's got over 3,000 hits, he's, been clutch in games, regular season, postseason. There's too many highlights to even count. The man also got into the Hall of Fame shy of 1 vote. And Ozzie Smith can't say that either. So as a coach, I'm sorry, but I'm saying thank you, Wizard but we're moving on to the captain. And I'm trying not to be biased because I'm wearing the Yankees hat, but
You are
You-
absolutely
you-
being biased.
You
I'm
are
not.
being biased. You're
That is the
like I
single most
said.
homer thing you've done on this podcast.
I mean, like
Stop
I
with your
said,
nonsense.
you are Riggs. You definitely are Riggs
I'm
from Lethal
not
Weapon. You are
Riggs.
playing this game not by the rules, my
I
friend.
am playing
Uh,
by the rules. Ozzie Smith, how many World Series titles does the man have? All right, let me ask
exactly.
you
You
this.
see, you're not
This
How
playing
this
by
many?
the
isn't
rules.
about World Series. This is who would you rather have if you're creating a lineup and you want to put a shortstop in, who would you rather have play shortstop? And you're picking a guy who wasn't even the best shortstop amongst his peers. Nomar
I'm
Garcia
picking
Parra
him
and A-Rod were better shortstops than Jeter during his prime.
defensively. Yes, you got to go where the wins are. You got to go with where the talent and where the success comes from.
Okay,
All right,
Brian, can I ask you a question?
over 3,000 hits, but keep going there, little brother.
I'm going to ask you a question, all right?
Please do.
Just on defense.
To Ozzie Smith, but that's not the question here.
That
The
is
question
the
is who do you want in your
question.
lineup?
That
No.
is the
The
question.
question is who do you want in your lineup? That means you have to play defense and offense, Daniel, because I know I'm going to get the offensive prowess with it. So
Oh,
this is a question of perception here. All
All
right.
right, so you're choosing
moving.
you're choosing bat
choosing-
over glove.
I'm choosing
Fine.
bat over glove because you said, who do I want at shortstop? Well, yeah, I want defense, but if I'm going to get some production out of it, well, then damn, I'm going to go with the captain on this.
Who would you rather have behind the plate? Johnny Bench or Pudge Rodriguez?
I'm going to have to stick with the baseball bunch. I'm going to have to go with Johnny Bench here. I would have to say, reason being, I mean, like Pudge Rodriguez, can't take anything away from him. He was phenomenal with his pitchers and everything, but Johnny Bench was the captain of the Big Red Machine. Hands down, he's by far more elite than Pudge Rodriguez, hands down. I just said hands down like 3 times. But
Is he hands down?
hands down, hands down. Yeah. Heads down, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Let's play 7-Up. But both in their prime, yeah, you have to go with Johnny Bench with this. He has the nod for me.
Yeah, I'd have to say going with defense, Pudge, has an edge there and a rocket for an arm. Not to say that Johnny didn't have a great defensive prowess either. I mean, he won 10 gold gloves, just Pudge won 13, but you have to go with also his power hitting with Johnny Bench, and he's got a couple MVP awards, under his belt and a much higher home run rate per at bat versus Pudge. Though both players won MVP awards and numerous other accolades, the comparison between both of these guys is really tough. But yes, Dan already said it, and I alluded to it during an Ozzie Smith comparison. But the X factor here is the baseball bunch. There is no better way to define your greatness in baseball and your contribution to society than that of the baseball bunch. And for those that are listening, if you've not watched the baseball bunch, what are you doing? Go watch the baseball bunch. The chicken.
Turn this off right now.
Yeah, what are you doing right now? Stop it. Go listen to the baseball bunch. You need to learn all about, why people throw the ball around the horn and only the third baseman can hand it back to the pitcher / the chicken. All right, you're going to learn all about bunting. You're going to learn about stealing. You're going to learn about, and you had so many great people on that program too. You had Ted Williams. Teddy Ballgame was on the baseball bunch. Greg Nettles was on the show. Ozzie Smith was on the show. So go watch baseball bunch. Get educated and be entertained. You got to give it to Johnny Bench. Spear, your thoughts on that?
So it's an impossible choice. Bench redefined the catcher's position. He was the first person to put his left hand behind him because he was trying to save it some wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
But Pudge might have perfected the catcher position. I think I'd go with Pudge here. All right. Who would you rather have leading off your lineup? Pick your leadoff guy. Ichiro or Ricky Henderson?
That is tough. And this is like a no wrong answer scenario.
No lose.
Just for flair and it's amazing, but I'm just going straight with the stolen bases and the power. I got to go Ricky Henderson. I can't argue with the guy's ability to get on base and get things done and just be a complete disruptor. Ichiro has a rocket for an arm in the outfield. You can't deny that either. And the man can just flat out hit. There's no denying that either. But I like the long ball. I'm a chick. I dig it. And I'm going to go with Ricky Henderson in this scenario because Ricky Henderson will also have a lot more leadoff homers for the team to get us going. So that's my choice. Dan, what do you think?
I'm gonna also have to go with Ricky Henderson, and both of them were very fast on the base path. You take a look at Ichiro; he did have a career 311 batting average, but if you take a look at his on base percentage, it was just around 355. You take a look at Ricky Henderson; he was over 400 for his career.
Mhm.
So the guy does get on base. He walks and he hits. So if I need someone at the top of my lineup to get on base, I'm going to have to give it to Ricky Henderson.
I agree. It's Ricky Henderson. It's not close. He's the all-time best leadoff hitter in history. No one can steal bases like him, and no one else ever will.
You know who will? Willie Mays Hayes. Willie Mays
Willie
Hayes
Mays Hayes.
would give him a run for his money.
You may run like Mays, but you hit like SHI.
And that was all I had on the list.
This has been a fantastic session of.
I enjoyed it. I thought this one was fun, boys.
It was spirited.
Spirited debate. Spirited debate. You can check out every single one of the episodes of the Three Tool Players podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, or wherever fine podcasts are sold. And you can follow us on X at Three Tool Pod, or on TikTok at Three Tool Players. For Brian and Dan Hammer, I'm Chris Spear, and we thank you for listening to this episode of Three Tool Players.